friends, welcome back to my channel. I'm Brittany, the maker behind Ginger Patch Designs, and I run my business out of my home, all while juggling mommy and wifey things. And today is a sewing day. I have been doing a lot of playing the last few weeks since I got my sewing machine back. I've been making things for myself. It's been super fun, but it's time to get back to work. So I have a lot of pre-cuts that I did while my sewing machine was in the shop. I'm going to go through and count everything that I have and make sure I have everything ready to start quilting. We're also going to talk about some issues with fabric sourcing, and I really need you guys' help with that. I do not like starting to batch sew and then just to realize I didn't cut enough batting or liners or whatever, and so I'm just making sure that I have everything ready for when I start. So I've got 17 of the 9x5s, and then 12, oh my gosh, 12 of the jumbo boxy bags. Jumbo. And this is my not aesthetic stash of already made stock. Yeah, see, this size is really, really low. This is all I've got in that for right now. And then here is where I keep, oh, some of these are already partially done. I just put a bunch of quilted tops in here so that it would just make the process easier for when I do get an order and I can just pull them out. And then, yeah, here's some pre-cut fusible fleece. I think for right now, just because it takes the longest, I'm going to focus on the two larger bags and getting those quilted. I probably won't finish them all start to finish just yet. Just having the panels quilted saves so much time for when I do get orders. I'm already almost done cutting all of the batting, and it's like barely even been 5 minutes. I think that's what I love my fabric cutter the most for. And like, yeah, even though this is 100% affiliate, I really do love it the most for batting and any kind of interfacing, because those things dull your rotary blades so fast, and you have to press down harder to like get through it, and it takes so long. Or maybe it's just me, it takes me a long time to just cut everything before you even turn on the machine. And depending on what I'm cutting fabric wise, I will use this. If it's just a bunch of larger pieces of straight lines, I will use this. If it's smaller pieces, I will use the rotary cutter. This has cut my prep time down so much. Like, if they had not sent this to me, I would have bought one for sure. And if you saw what I was doing with the marker, like, batting does not have to be precise. You're going to trim it up anyways when you go to like actually sew the sides of the bag together and stuff. So like, it doesn't have to be exact. I'm just marking, cutting. It doesn't have to be precise. I'm giving like a 1/2 inch extra. So like my, so like this, it needs to be 5 inches wide, but I'm doing like 5.5. I was about to say that I only have about 1.5 yards of the main lining fabric left for these bags, but I'm not using liners today. I am just quilting. I am so scattered. Do you ever have one of those days where you're just like, you're just walking around and you're like, you're trying to get started and you just can't? I'm just having a complete brain fart day. I just cannot, it's just not working today. Maybe that's an excuse for a little snacky snack. I just realized that I made more work for myself. So I've always cut out, you know, the pieces of batting for the flat pouches, you know, the same size as the fabric. But if I'm going to like batch paste the batting to the fabric. I should have just laid out a giant piece of batting and put all of the smaller pieces on there and then cut. I will do that next time. So yes, this is a beach towel. It's clean, don't worry, it's a beach towel. And this way I can just like batch iron out and lay everything out at one time, because I can only fit like 2 or 3 of the big boxy bag panels on my ironing board at one time. And I can fit, I think, like 6 of this size at one time. So I've got my stacks prepped. They are ready to be quilted, and there's quite a lot of them. I'm kind of hesitant to get started though, because I have to leave in like 25 minutes to go get my daughter. And so I figured we'd just chat and I will work on my fabric tags while we're chatting. If you're curious about my fabric tags, I did do a video on these. I think it says fabric tags like on the cover, the thumbnail photo on the video. And then in another video, I did like a test wash on my own wallet pouch to see like how it would hold up and everything. And so you can go check that out if you're curious about how I make the fabric tags. So about fabric sources. I'm just now getting back into my sewing journey. Honestly, Hancock's of Paducah has always been a go-to for me, just because they have such a selection there and it is an hour from my house. I have a really hard time shopping for fabrics online. I'm a visual person. I need to touch it. I need to feel it. I need to like hold it up against another fabric bolt or look at the whole collection together. You know, if you sew and you use fabric, you get it. And so unless it's fabric that I've already used before, I almost never order online. And that's why I like Hobby Lobby so much, because it's close to me and I can just, you know, go pick out new stuff and then order more online, which I have done recently. I don't think I'd call it an issue, but just my thing right now is that, like, and I'm not knocking this, I'm just saying it's a thing. Lots of people use Hobby Lobby fabric, like lots of people. There's lots of people making tote bags and boxy bags, and there's room for everyone. I'm not saying that that's a bad thing. I'm just saying there's a lot of us using the same fabrics. And so I'm kind of like in my mind at this crossroads of like trying to explore other fabric options. I just don't know where to go to find them. And that's what I was going to ask you guys about. If you had some favorite fabric sources that you like to get your cottons from. It's so funny, like literally just probably I'd say in the last few weeks, and I have not verbally voiced this out loud, so my phone didn't hear me say this. I'm wondering if it's because of the whole Joann's, you know, shebang and it's closing down. So now other fabric sources, fabric retailers are like, this is our time to shine. So I've been seeing a lot of YouTube ads because I listen to other makers and vlogs and stuff like the kinds that I make while I'm in here working. And I've just seen a lot more ads for online fabric retailers. And so I'm just curious if you guys have tried any, like tried and true, reliable, great quality, hit me with everything that you want to share. I'm not saying I'm going to give up Hobby Lobby fabrics. I can't do that. I just love it. I love some of them too much. But I think having Hobby Lobby fabrics as like my one and only source, I don't think that's wise from a business perspective. I think it's wise to have multiple sources of fabric so that I do not foresee Hobby Lobby closing. I mean, let's just pray in the name of Jesus right now. Amen, that's not going to happen. But, you know, Joann's closed, and that was a huge source of materials for a lot of people. I bought all of my Bernat blanket yarn from Joann's. Sometimes I would get like a purge from someone cleaning out their crafty room in this crochet Facebook group that I'm in, or Maybe if I couldn't find a color, I would get it on Amazon, but very rarely. Joann's was my go-to, and you could always get it for like $8.49 or somewhere in that range. Around the holidays, sometimes you could get it for like $7.99 dollars a skein. Thankfully, I don't need to restock my yarn right now, but it's gonna. I have one skein of white left, so I know that you can get yarn on Yarnspirations. You can get Bernat Blanket on yarnspirations.com, but I have yet to ever see it on sale, and it is like 13 something dollars a skein. I'm like, ooh. That would just mean that my cost per product is going to go up, and I really am trying not to do that. Also, if you're thinking of Hirschner's as far as yarn goes, I'm aware of Hirschner's. Someone asked one time like how I get the fabric labels centered, so it's really easy. Let me show you. These are for the bigger boxy bags. I'll use some of the smaller ones to show you. These are the smaller pouches. I just take one, I start with one, and I fold it over and kind of make that crease so you can see it. And then I clip it at the top. I'm not going to sew it at the top. I'm just going to clip it at the top so that when I put it under the sewing machine, all I have to do is unclip it and just move it right down. I actually need to trim that off right there before I sew that. But yeah, and then I can just move it down and I hold it in place on this sewing machine. And then from here, I just pile them on top of each other just like this. And that's it. And I just keep going. I'm really more just thinking out loud when I'm saying these things about fabric sources, because I'm keenly aware that like this is my full-time gig now. You know, I don't have a consistent salary anymore. And so as a business owner, you have to have backup plans for everything. My backup plan, if my business completely fails, is I have a degree and I can go back to the classroom. I don't want to. I don't want to go back. But having a backup for your materials, I think, is very, very important. I'm not getting like political or anything. This is not a political statement. This is just where my small business brain is thing. Like, so I think it'd be very wise for me to explore multiple fabric sources in case one goes down. Like say it was Joann's. I really didn't source fabric from Joann's, if I'm being honest, so that it just doesn't completely wipe out an entire category in my business, you know. Another thing I'm going to do differently is liners. Let me explain my take on liners, because I was trying to be more efficient. To me, it was easier to use one type of fabric liner for like all the bags, because I will always have that one in stock. If I'm only stocking one type, like white, that's really easy, and I'm not running out of this one that goes with that one, etc., etc. However, white gets kind of boring a little bit. I think using all white for the smaller things like the flat pouches and the wallets and stuff like that is fine. But I think for the larger boxy bags, like this is a solid blush pink that I used from the Blush and Boots collection that goes on that interior. I think for the larger pieces, having matching coordinating fabrics really is the way to go, because it just looks so much better. It really does. So that's another thing that I'm going to be looking for in my new fabric source. Finished all of the flat pouch panels. I did not get to, honestly, I didn't expect to get to the jumbo boxy bag panels today, just because we kind of had a busier day and I only got to work for about a total of 5 hours today. So I'm just going to trim up all of the batting, and I know that I could lay this out on a cutting mat and do it like that, but I just want to sit. I've been doing a lot of standing today. I don't trim these up like exact. I just trim them enough to where there's not like that much hanging off. Just snip, snip, snip. Just make it quick. Also, if you are on the hunt for fabric scissors, these are in my Amazon store. They are Pro Shear, and I have several pairs of Fiskars, and I've had them for years. I've even had them sharpened. And I also have this German pair that starts with a G, and I can't remember what it's called, but they're really, really nice. But these things will slice a finger open. They are so sharp, like you can feel it. And I recently got a shorter pair that's more, it's actually better for smaller stuff. Hang on. I should actually be using this smaller pair instead of the bigger pair. Anyways, but I absolutely love these. Honestly, when I'm doing like a lot of sewing things, I don't even aim for the trash can anymore. It goes on the floor and I will sweep it up later. I thought this would be a great opportunity to talk about a question that I got on this last week's video, and I'm going to read it because I don't want to butcher it, because it's pretty relevant, kind of like with some of the things that I chat about while I'm working. Norin asked, well, she said, I hope you see this comment, girl. I see all the comments, okay? I love your logo. I changed mine to minimalist, but it looks so sad and depressing. My original logo was colorful, but my mom says it looks childish. What are your thoughts? Because I'm a mom with 2 kids, and I want my logo to bring joy and happiness when you see it, like yours. Girl, thank you so much. I'm very flattered by that, but I have to say that this is actually my 3rd logo. I went through a few changes as well, and I think that's, honestly, I don't think that's completely not common in businesses. I mean, some people pick something and stick with it forever, and then people feel like they've kind of outgrown their original logo or brand or whatever, and that is what happened to me. I actually have a painting of my first logo that I'm going to show you that my mother-in-law painted for me, and it was so sweet. Even though it's not my logo anymore, I kept it. So this is the only image I have at all left of my original logo. I bought this bird thing on, I don't even remember where I bought it online, but it was like $40 to purchase this brand logo thingy, and then I just added Ginger Patch Designs, and then I had Joy in Every Stitch with 1 Corinthians 10:31 on here, and my mother-in-law painted this for me. It got a little messed up when we moved, and this is when I first opened my Etsy shop, and you had to have something like on your little logo picture, you know, and so that's how I came up with that. My second logo was, I'll put it up on the screen here. This, it was kind of a blend between a sewing machine and a crochet hook. And I actually paid a good friend of mine, this same friend that painted Bane, my dog, in the last video. She painted my dog that passed away. I hired her to paint this for me, and I love how she made the crochet hook instead of the needle, and the yarn ball and everything, and I absolutely loved it. But I think where I made a mistake was I didn't, and she did exactly what I asked for. I asked for the 2 hobbies to be blended, somehow gave her free range, and then my text on there. I didn't make my text the Ginger Patch Designs. I didn't make the text big enough. It was too small, like when you're putting it in a very small picture, so that the whole focus of the profile picture or brand picture was the sewing machine and not my name, if that makes sense. And so it was gorgeous, but it wasn't a wise move as far as like, this is how I want to represent my business with this thing that doesn't have my name in it. You know, I'm not Nike, you know, where the Nike check mark, they don't have to put their name on the stuff. Like, you know, by their check mark that that's Nike. Like, nobody's going to know that that's me. So a couple years ago, this was before I knew I was going to leave the classroom, and I was just trying to, just to make it better. I was just trying to make it look better. I thought my business looked dumpy and plain and ugly, and I was sick of it. So what I did when I created my website, I did what I refer to as the overhaul. And I've talked about some of these things in previous videos, like I chose fonts, brand colors, brand graphics. Like I solidified all of those elements for my business. So now that's why you see like on my website, or it's kind of hard to do on social media sometimes, or market signage, like it's the same fonts, it's the same colors, and it's the same colors that are in my logo. Now, I actually think my logo is like borderline too busy because I have too many colors going on, but I didn't want to go like solid black or like all one solid color. I don't regret it, but it's also a little too busy. Noelle Creates, her channel, Noelle Creates, has a video about this very thing, about branding for your business, and she goes into far more depth than I do. So feel free to go check that out if you need like a more deep dive on that. So the reason that I ended up spending all of that time, because it did take a lot of time, I did a lot of reading and research and, looking up color palettes and all of this. I knew I was ready to rebrand because I had a solid feel for my business, meaning I kind of knew the direction I wanted to take it. It was like I tried to think of adjectives to describe my business, and I got these tips from, I don't even remember. I follow so many other makers and small business owners over the years consistently that I don't remember which one said this. I'm sorry. Basically, if you were to think of adjectives to describe your business, keeping your target audience, your target customer in mind, what would those adjectives be? And the very first word that came to my mind was cozy. So I thought of words like cozy, functional, practical, pretty, all of those things that, like, if you were to look at my brand, all of those adjectives apply to the feel, the vibe, the products, who uses them, etc., etc. And so then I tried to look for, and this took a while. This is not a quick process. So if you feel like you're spinning your wheels, that's kind of part of the process a little bit, like navigating and figuring it out. Now that I had those adjectives, now I could kind of look for fonts that kind of matched the vibe of those adjectives. Then I could look for, well, what color palettes kind of match this vibe? Let me explain. So if you have no clue where to start, whether you use Canva or not, I talk a lot about Canva on my channel, not sponsored or affiliated. I just love it. Go to Google and type in Canva font combos or cute Canva fonts. And there's all these other creators out there who have done a lot of the legwork for you, and you can look at images of different font combos. So you can have like a primary font and a secondary font, and you can just pick one. And a lot of those fonts are free on Canva that you can use and pick for your business. Same thing with color palettes. I stopped working. This is what happens when I ramble. Just go to Google and type in color palette. Now, if you have a better idea, like you already have a color that you kind of associate with your business, like pink or purple or whatever, you can just type in trendy pink color palettes, and you can there's so many to choose from, and that can give you a starting point. And here's the thing about searching color palettes on Google. And you might already know this, and you can fast forward if you already know this about hex codes. But when you search color palettes, every shade of color has a universal hex code, and I think it's a 5 or a 6-digit number. And when you search color palettes on Google, those hex codes will come up. And if they don't, just add hex code to your search and it'll pop up. You can copy and paste that number. Like, let's say you find the most perfect shade of pink for your business, and that's the one. You want that one. Copy and paste that hex code into Canva. Boom. There it is. Like on the color thingy, Let me show you. Okay, I'm not going to do a screen recording because I didn't plan to do this, so we're just going to make this really quick. So I'm on Google. I'm going to just look up pink color palette. Oh, it's already there. Look, hex codes. And I'm going to go to images, and there's so many. You could scroll for days, or you could even add like fall pink color palettes, and it'll bring up like more specific times of the year. But we're just going to go to the first one, just for the sake of me showing you how to do this. See, here's the hex codes that I was talking about. I'm just going to pick one and highlight it. You can right click, copy, or I like to Command C. We're going to go to Canva, and we're just going to create just something really fast, just a blank document. And let's just grab some text just for the sake of me showing you how to do this. Okay. Okay, up here where the colors are, text color, you see this plus sign right here, and it's like a rainbow. If you click on that, this is the hex code. So erase that, paste, boom, done. So I hope that that was helpful. My daughter is squealing in the other room. I'm pretty sure my husband let her watch Minecraft funny videos. I'm sorry if you hear a child screaming, she's fine. We're gonna go to dinner here in just a little bit, so I'm trying to finish up. But also, as far as, I don't know the context of the comment about your logo looking childish, Nurin. I don't know if that's your name or just the name of your channel. I'm so sorry. But here are my thoughts, based on just what I've seen in the maker and the small business community and my own experiences. I think there's a difference between negativity and constructive criticism. You know, again, I don't know if the comment came from love and care and she was just trying to be helpful or not. Because there's plenty of people out there that will tell you their family members are not supportive, blah, blah, blah. That has not been the case for me. My family, I couldn't do this if my family was not supportive. I mean, that's not been my experience. My husband and my mother-in-law are super helpful and supportive. I like to joke that my husband is Mr. GPD and he is the DIY rescue person around here. But anywho, I think that if you kind of approach your logo and your branding kind of from the steps that I mentioned, and again, I'm not a pro, this is just what worked for me, and I took all of that advice I just gave you, I got from other experienced, seasoned makers that you will find on the internet somewhere. I think if you go at it from that approach and really try to get a feel for your business, if whatever your current logo is matches the feel of your business and the vibe that you're putting off and matches those adjectives that you come up with, great, go with it, you know? But if you want it to be more colorful or you want it to be a little something extra, whatever extra means to you, then sit down and have a hard think about it. I just think we need to keep in mind, we as makers, handmade, small business girlies, whoever you are watching, I think we need to keep in mind that there's a fine line between negativity and constructive criticism. And don't let the negativity steal your joy. It can give you pause and you can think about it, but don't let it steal your joy. Let it fuel your thoughts and turn a negative into a positive. That's what I'm trying to say. I didn't plan to talk about that today, but it just kind of popped up when I was checking to see how my video was doing. And I was like, oh, that's a good one. Maybe I should talk about it. So, oh, and this reminds me, I'm still working on I'm still like it's new, but I have channel memberships now where you can get like early access to the videos. I think it's a day before they go live for everybody else, and you can get like priority response to your questions. And I think there's like super chats and stuff. And so if that's something that you would be interested in, like getting more individualized responses and stuff, I guess you could say. I did 2 levels. I think one is $4 and one is $6. It's like really, really low. I just kept it low because I don't know. I feel weird. Okay, let me show you what I've been working on. Okay, so this is one of my absolute favorites. I call this like a Victorian tea set, and it's the print is a little bit big, so no two pieces are the same. It's so beautiful though. It's just classy. I just love how classy it is. This is, I've seen other makers use this one, but it's also very cute and popular. It's I call this one Polka Dot Cherry. And we'll save the custom prints for the end. This is also from Hobby Lobby. It's, I call it a white wildflower. Now this one people did seem to gravitate more towards, it's the end of the video. I'm losing it. They liked this one more at markets, and I sold out of the jumbo boxy bags and then the flat pouches in the white wildflower, and then the polka dot strawberry. These are all from Hobby Lobby. And the pink disco cherry. And everybody's favorite, the green mushroom. I have this in, I think I have almost all of these in all of the products on my shop. But this was also one that people gravitated towards. There it is, quite a bit. And here are custom prints that I paid to have custom printed. I call this one Blush Floral from the Blush and Boots collection. And the print is also a little bit bigger, so like no two are the same. This one was also very well liked at the few markets that I've done. And this one, I feel like I've said this 3 times, but this is the last one that got a lot of attention, which is why I'm restocking it. It's good old Blush and Boots. They are pink cowboy boots, but it's like a kind of vintagey floral vibe. So pretty. My initial goal this whole spring and like basically the first half of the year was to come out with 3 collections, right? I've done 2 so far. The Blush and Boots and the Bells and Blossoms, so that I could basically just use all the products from all 3 of those collections at fall markets all year. Like that was my initial goal, and it kind of still is. I don't know if another collection's gonna happen this year, y'all. Like it's, my daughter's home with me full time now, and I feel very scattered, and I'm still trying to get out the next crochet kit that I've talked about for like 2 months. So I don't know when that's gonna happen. And then I got all this vintage fabric dumped on me, which has just turned my crafty ADD into overdrive because it's like Christmas over here. So friends, thank you for working with me today. I hope that this was helpful, our little chat. Hit me up in the comments if you have any other thoughts, if you fabric sources, if you have any good fabric sources. And friends, I will see you on the next one. Bye.